Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Golden Boots podcast. This is your host, Jorge Gonzalez. Our podcast is all about soccer, all things soccer. We love soccer. For episode 9 today, we have Justin Montgomery. Justin is originally from Monroe, North Carolina, and he played for Pfeiffer University as a defender and a central midfielder as well. Justin, how are you today, man?
I'm doing well, man. How about you?
I'm doing great, bro. I heard you had an amazing breakfast this morning, man.
Yeah.
Some avocado, right?
Yes, sir. My girlfriend cooked it up real nice for me. She's the best. Shout out Chessie. Thank you.
that's pretty good, man, to start out the episode shouting out your girlfriend. I like that.
She's definitely going to watch this.
Nice, man. Awesome, bro. So one of the things that we like to do on this podcast is bring in different players to talk about their experiences playing soccer and their love for the game. So kind of give us your background.
Okay, yeah. So I'm a military brat. I was born in Jacksonville, North Carolina, but then I moved to outside of Charlotte in Monroe when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
And I've always played soccer, but I didn't really develop a love for it till I was significantly older, maybe 13 probably.
Okay.
I was telling you a story before that when I was younger, soccer was just a sport that you played in rotation with baseball and basketball in the wintertime, just a sport that you could play with your friends and was fun. And I didn't know that it was a globally loved game until these German kids moved in called the Doomlers. Shout out the Doomlers. But they were telling me yeah, man, soccer is the biggest sport in Germany. It's the biggest sport in the world. And I was like, what are you talking about? I get bullied at school for playing soccer. Kids call me a foot fairy. No one understands it. I'm there's no way. And then I would go over to their house on the weekends, and then they would have the Bundesliga channel on DirecTV.
Uh-huh.
So then as soon as I got home, I would spend the night over there, and we'd watch 3 or 4 games in the morning. And then I went home, and I was like, Mom, we have to get DirecTV. I need DirecTV. I want to watch these games. I want to watch, I want to watch this team. I want to watch that team. And she told me, no. And then till I just wore it down, and then we finally ended up getting DirecTV, and
nice.
I got to watch some games on the weekend.
Do you remember the very first game that you watched, or what team
yeah,
that you watched?
Yeah, FC Cologne.
Okay.
With Lucas Podolski on it.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was Hanover 96. That was one of the first games.
Nice. It must have been young Podolski, right? Before
Yeah, young
okay.
Podolski, yeah.
That's cool.
Before
bro.
he got washed up. Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. So you grew up watching it. You had no idea at first, and then you started watching it. Cool. Then you went into high school, correct?
Well, first I graduated elementary school and middle school.
Yeah.
No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I was. So I originally played rec. A lot. If people don't know what rec is, it's a just your local team that you can pay maybe $50-$60 to play, and they'll randomly place you on a team. And I played for Monroe and Indian Trail, which are both cities in Union County. Okay. And then when I hit 6th grade, I got a spot on a challenge team at SCSA.
Okay.
Which is even before CSA now in Charlotte, there were 2 clubs, or 3 really. It was Charlotte Soccer Club, South Charlotte Soccer Association, and then Matthews USA. They were kind of the 3 big ones when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
That was travel teams.
Okay.
And so I ended up trying out and making a really low level team, because I was bad. I was somewhat athletic, kind of quick, but my first touch was terrible. It was I had a brick on my foot, and being quick, I could catch up to the ball when I had a terrible first touch, but past that, and then my team got disbanded because there wasn't enough players who made the lowest of the low team. So then I ended up getting to join with some of my friends and play on their team, which was 2 levels above that. And then from that moment on, I had a serious rapid growth in the game, because I was always playing. I got those little rebounders.
Yes.
I got one of those rebounders to put in my backyard, and I would go out there every day and just ping the ball off of it and mess around, and then
you were consumed with it then, right?
Yeah, I was just balls to the wall soccer. I stopped playing baseball, and I was pretty decent at baseball and coach pitch or whatever, but I was nah, forget that. I'm playing soccer. So then I started doing it spring, summer, fall, winter. Started playing indoor, at down near Westinghouse Boulevard at the little sports connection or whatever.
Okay.
And I started playing year round, completely consumed. And then I got pretty good. I mean, not anything crazy good.
When was
but
that
pretty
moment
good.
where you're like, okay, like I'm a pretty decent player? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, when I was in 7th grade and I made the middle school team, and then I was like one of the only 7th graders on my team starting,
Okay.
and I was like, okay, like I'm doing pretty good now, like I'm okay, like I knew what to do, and I was playing outside back, and that's
Okay.
where I first played outside back because I
Uh-huh.
had always been like a center mid
Uh-huh.
or like a 6 or an 8, like box to box or holding. But then I was like, you know what? I think I'm a pretty good outside back.
Okay.
And then I started doing that because I was always the two things I was probably the best at was defending and then passing. So like diagonals
Okay.
or like getting on like an overlap and like hitting a decent cross in.
Okay.
Like
So
I was.
your long range was pretty good then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some. I only got the pings when I was in like 11th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, man. So cool. Tell us about your high school experience. How's that?
It was good. I originally went to Piedmont High, so
Uh-huh.
that's in like the middle of nowhere, like it's really in the middle of nowhere, Monroe. And 9th grade, we won I think 2 games and lost like 19. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And I got to play varsity as a freshman, but we were terrible.
I got a similar story, man. Our team,
Yeah.
like, we barely had enough players. Like the squad was 13 people.
Yeah.
No.
I remember we so this was at a time when Marvin Ridge High School was super good. Like they had an All-American on their team, and he was a senior when I was a freshman. And I'm pretty sure they beat us like
Oh god.
like 9-0 first half, but like we had to finish the half, and it was like 9-0 at like 30 minutes in, and I was just like, damn, coach, take me out. Like I don't want to play anymore. Like it was just to the point where like it was embarrassing to be on the field. And then so after my 9th grade year, I jumped ship and went to this magnet school called CATA, which is also in Monroe.
Uh-huh.
And then yeah, we did pretty good there. I think I finished with like maybe like 2 all conferences, 1 all state, 1 all region.
Okay.
And then yeah, that was pretty good. We always lost in the 3rd round of the playoffs though, but we had
Was there a specific team y'all lost to, or just like random?
random. It was just
Okay.
like a curse. It was just a curse
Gotcha.
to always lose in the 3rd round. Yeah.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah.
But cool. Then you went off to. Tell me about how you got to Pfeiffer. What was that process like?
Okay, yeah. So originally, I thought I was gonna go to a D1 school and like walk on, like a preferred walk on kind of thing, because I had really good grades, and like I figured I could play, maybe just be on the practice squad or whatever. But probably around like December of my senior year, this coach, the assistant coach at Pfeiffer, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I really think you could like help out our team. I really think you'd be a good addition here. Like, I know you want to go like D1 walk on, but I think that you could like really thrive in like D2." And I was like, "Hey, I appreciate that." So I went on a visit with him, and then I committed probably in the spring of my senior year. But then like a week after I committed, the assistant coach who came to see me play was like, "Hey, I accepted a head coach role, so I won't be there in the fall."
Really?
Yeah. So when I got there, nobody had seen me play. Like they didn't know my name. Like they didn't know like what positions I played. Like no one had any idea who I was. So I had to really grind at like 18 against like grown men, like 24, 26, like just to get put on the first team.
Wow. Okay.
To be able to travel with the squad, and then like
when you say really grind, explain, get more in depth onto that.
Oh, okay. So like in my summer before I went to Pfeiffer, like I had seen them play, and I had saw or seen whatever how good like the entire team was.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm about to have to put some work in. So like I remember that summer I did 3-a-days every day.
Wow.
I would wake up at like not early because I'm not getting up that early. Like I got up maybe like 8:30, and then like 8:30 to maybe like 10:30, I'd go outside and use my little rebounder I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I'd come in, get something to eat, like chill, watch some TV, some Netflix, whatever, and then I'd go hit the gym because coaches told me I was small. So like I started lifting, like I tried to get big, and I can't get that big, but like I gained maybe like 15 pounds, and then I was lifting like crazy, and I did that like every day also, except for like my 2 rest days from like 3 to like 5:30. And then I would go home, take a nap, and then at night at 9 or like 8 or 9, I would hop the fence to Cata, which is probably illegal. So, but like I would hop the fence, and then I would go.
Well, it's too late for them to do anything now.
Can't catch me now.
Allegedly, he went.
Yeah, allegedly hopped over the fence and ran and did like, because we would get like a workout book that would be like, okay, you need to do 200s in like 28 seconds, and then you need to do 300s in like 56, like 400s in under a minute, and I did that every day.
Well,
in my summer.
That's perfect, bro. That's what I was thinking. I mean, like, most people, like, they have the wrong perception of, okay, I'm gonna either just go and play and show what I am. No, like, you were smart about it. You saw the team and you said, what are some of the things that I can do to improve? So by the time I get there, like, okay, like, people take me seriously too. And
yeah.
I like that you embrace that challenge, right? Because a lot of people could have said, man, this sucks. Like, I used to talk to the other coach. Now I got somebody new. I don't know what's going on. Like, but you actually embraced that challenge. And tell us what happened after that.
Yeah, man. I started to get some PT. I was one of the only American freshmen to get some PT my freshman year. I think I played in maybe like 15 or 16 games out of like 25 that season,
awesome.
which was pretty good for me coming in. Like, nobody knew me. Like, I wasn't on anybody's radar in the team. And then I really made like some lifelong friends at Pfeiffer. They're all back in like either like their respected countries or like have their jobs and whatnot. But like we could still like link up, and it would be like nothing ever changed. Yeah.
What was that dynamic like with like foreign players?
It was hard at first because everybody's speaking a different language. So like we had a lot of Spanish speakers, and then like we had a lot of people from, I forget if it's like the Iberian Peninsula or whatever. So like Portugal, France, Spain. Like they were all from around there. We had 2 Colombians, a kid from Trinidad and Tobago, a couple Mexicans, and yeah, that was probably, and then a couple Americans, kids from New Jersey and Florida, like rounding out our first team. But everybody got along. We were all like super cool, really good friends. After wins, we'd go out together. We'd eat together because there's not shit to do at Pfeiffer. It's in the middle of nowhere.
It really is.
Yeah,
bro.
it's in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm pretty sure the co-working space we're in right now is like bigger than like the campus at Pfeiffer. Like, just maybe the property that they have. Like, it was so tiny, nothing to do. Literally, all you can do there is like play video games in your room if you have like an Xbox or PlayStation, or play your sport. That's really the only thing to do.
It's good that you were on a sports team.
Yeah.
You probably saw half the school then.
Yeah.
Nice, man. So how'd you guys do those 2 years that you were there?
So my freshman year, we ended up winning the national championship, and we went undefeated. Okay. Yeah, we went undefeated. We had the best players probably in the nation. I would say like D2 or D1 on our squads.
Wow, okay.
Because we ended up playing Clemson in the spring of my freshman year when we didn't have 2 of our starters, and we tied them 1-1. And that was the year they had just went to the Division I national championship, like the fall
you
before.
Guys were nice, man.
We were legit. Like,
nice. So
practices were crazy too, like super high intensity. We had a really good coach too. Coach Bob Riasso. He coached at Rutgers, won a D1 national championship in like the 80s or 90s.
He brought that winning mentality to you guys.
Yeah, he was a beast, like in your face type beast, like telling you when you're doing something wrong. And like he just had so much knowledge. So like I feel like I learned a lot from him, just like how he would approach the game and how he would like think about the game. He was obsessed with soccer. Like, and that's if you want to be great at something, that's really the only way to go about it.
100%, man. Like, you have to be all in, right? Like, I mean, like, people like think some of these players, what they do, like Ronaldo does insane things. Like, I've heard of him waking up at 3 a.m. and taking an ice bath, stuff like that. But like, I'm like, if you want it bad enough, you're gonna do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? What would you say would be like, if you could sum up the 3 ingredients that made that Pfeiffer team successful? What would they be?
It would be, well, one, you obviously got to be good. Like, you can be as hardworking as you want, but if you're not any good, like it's not gonna come off for you.
Yeah.
Like, now there are some instances where like hard work beats talent, where talent doesn't work hard. That cliche saying, but like you have to be good at the game.
Yeah, like I mean, like I'm not a good singer. Like I could take singing lessons and all of this, and at best I'll probably be average, but nobody's gonna pay for average.
Yeah, you'll be a backup singer. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like you're not like you have to have. There's that natural talent that like you have to have.
100%.
But then with that natural talent, like you just have to be willing just to grind, man. Like just put the time in, like. And show up, like be consistently show up every day and like work as hard as you possibly can in that moment. And then if you do that, and if you build like compound on that year after year after year after year, continuously working as hard as you can at something you want to be good at, it's going to happen for you. It's gonna, like, whatever you want to happen is going to happen.
That's awesome, man. What was that feeling like being a champ? Like, describe that to us.
Oh man, it was awesome. I didn't think I really had like that big of a role in the national championship team, but it was still like, it was so great, man. You post one picture on Instagram and everybody's hitting you up. Hey, congrats. Like it was nice. It was a good feeling. And then doing it with like my friends and some guys that I would consider like probably my family at that time. It was just awesome, man. All the hard work that they put in and we put in, like seeing it actually like. I would disagree with you a little bit about you not playing a big role, man, or playing the bigger role you think you do. Because I think everybody, whatever they do, whether they're a starter, whether they have a small role, whatever they do, like I think there's a harmony when it comes to like becoming a champion. Like everybody knows their role, everybody knows kind of what they're doing for the team, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think. Yeah, there's people that shine more. Like, I can think of, like, the Liverpool team. Like, there's players that shine more, but then, like, I think of a James Milner or a Henderson. Who just, legends.
Like, they just work really hard, and they do the dirty stuff. And, like, Salah or Mane get the praise because, Salah scores a hat trick or something.
Gets all the clout. I used to think Henderson was trash. I'm so sorry. You're good. I used to think he was bad.
Listen, we all had our doubts. Yeah. Even me, I was like, God, like, okay, like, I feel like we could spice the midfield a little bit more.
Bro, he always used to just pass either backwards or side to side, and I would be watching games like, I can do that. Like, I can do that. I can pass backwards and I can pass to the side. Like,
you're like Liverpool. I'm a free agent right now.
Hit me up. Like,
nice, man. Well, that's awesome, bro. Like, let's talk a little bit about MLS then. I know, Charlotte, we're getting our team, so super excited about that, The countdown continues. Still feels like forever till we get it, but until then, like, let's be excited and positive for it. I know one of the things that I see here at the MLS is that every team gets assigned 3 designated players, right? And I see the benefits of it where people say, hey, we don't want to create super teams in the MLS where somebody like Inter Miami is stacked, and then, I don't know, like us, we don't get anybody, right? But then I also see the bad side of it because I don't think the league becomes as attractive as it could be. Give us your thoughts on that.
Not only with the designated players, like I think the MLS like has it all wrong. Like I think we talked about this too on our call, like designated players, like let's be honest at what a majority of these designated players are. Like they're retired European pros that are coming to the MLS.
Pretty much.
Except for like maybe the case of I think Atlanta FC or Atlanta United had like probably maybe the best 3 designated players like of all time in the MLS with Martinez, Almiron, who plays at Newcastle now and starts and gets major PT for them.
Yeah.
And then some other dude, I forgot. Maybe it was the goalkeeper, whatever his name was, Brad Guzan or whatever. Maybe he was the other third one. I think that like in that instance of designated players, like that's like world class for the MLS.
Okay.
Like designated player signing. But then when you look at it like as NYCFC, like their 3 designated players at the time was like 38-year-old David Villa, like 40-year-old Pirlo, and like 36-year-old Lampard. And those are your 3 designated players that are going to bring you into the future of like your like MLS career. Like,
I see what you're saying.
Not a chance. Like, not a chance. So I think it's good in some ways, but I think it's bad in others. I would like to see them get rid of designated players, but maybe just have a a hard salary cap on like the team, kind of how like the NFL does or whatever.
Okay.
Because we don't really have like the same fanfare as they do in England to be able to like pour money into like off of merchandise and off of ticket sales into like the team.
It's not the most popular sport here.
No, so like you see like the season that they sign it up as, like they compete with it's in the summer, right? So it goes like maybe
it
like
goes from February to December.
Yeah, so who are we competing with? Baseball, like a dying sport in America, like, and we're still not pulling that many like those numbers.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
So I think they should get rid of the designated players, or start trying to bring in like quality players from like this side of the world, like Central America, like South America, like certain designated players that are like 24, 25, 26, like get players in their prime versus players that are like well past their prime, like Chicharito and Ibra and David Beckham, and like the list goes on and on and on. Like pretty much retired players coming to the MLS to chase a check and still play.
I got you. Yeah, I think from a branding perspective, it's bad that like it looks like that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think of the MLS, you think of like like the retired players. Like let's take a look at Inter Miami right now. Like they signed Blas Matuidi, who's like 32 or 33, and then they signed Higuain, who's around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're probably good enough to be here and play, and they've got the clout.
They're going to be top 10 players in MLS out of their prime.
Right. But that's the problem, that they're out of their prime, like you said. And so kind of players like that, it's good to have them. And I think it is good to have them, but at the same time, like as what you said, like it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you're like, okay, like Higuain's only coming to Inter Miami because, because no one's going to pay him.
No one else wanted him. Yeah.
He's going to pay him what he's making, what he's going to make here at any other smaller club where he could still probably compete in European football. But I do think, I like what you said about the younger prospect players, but I think we should be a little bit more ambitious and try to pull some young prospect players from Europe. I mean, one good example I can think of was when we signed Jovinko from Juventus. He signed with Toronto, and he did really well there.
Yeah.
And technically, he was going into his prime.
Yeah, 26, 27, I think, when they signed him. Yeah.
And I think Vela, the same thing. He was a little bit of a decline, but you could still see that the quality was there.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I think they're already trying to do that, bring some players from Central and South America. Like you look at Chichan Pavon at LA Galaxy. Like I thought he would go to Europe. I saw him in the World Cup, and I was like, you know what? He's good enough to be in Europe, but then he came to LA Galaxy. It's like, okay. The only thing that I think, because our league has that kind of like, okay, like it's kind of a retirement league, right? That scares players, right? Like if you're a 24, 25-year-old player, like are about to hit your prime, and you get a contract off from the MLS, you're like, dang, does this kind of look bad on me because I'm headed over here versus trying to go to Europe, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I would see, like, okay.
I think like what's really attractive is that the lifestyle in the U.S. like versus like other places that they might have offers from, like an aging Higuain probably has offers like for another like Serie A team.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I've never been outside the U.S., but like I just have I feel like it has a certain draw, and even like you hear like Messi and Ronaldo like would want to come to the MLS just to live in the United States,
L.A. or Miami, or New York, right?
One of those just big ticket cities where they can just pretty much ball out and do kind of whatever they want. And they even might get a little like more privacy, because people might not maybe not Messi and Ronaldo, but like Higuain and Matuidi, like they might not get noticed like going out in Miami versus going out in like Turin at Juve. Like they can have a little bit more privacy. Yeah,
that's true, man. Cool. Awesome. Let's since we're on the topic of European football, let's talk a little bit about the Prem too. I know two very exciting teams that I've seen recently are Everton, who just signed James, who's got Decore and Allan right there in the midfield. And I watched the last two games, man, and they look pretty good. They did a great job against Tottenham, and they won today 5-2 against West Brom. And so I could kind of see James kind of pulling that team together, kind of being the the orchestrator there. And so I think they're going to have a good season. And another team, although Tottenham lost their first game against Everton, I think they could be a great team now, too. Now that they've added Gareth Bale, they've added Reunion, the left back from Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, like I can kind of see this team with a fit Harry Kane. They could do well, too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Which team do you think would have a better season, Everton or Spurs?
So I've supported Everton for a little bit because I tried to model my play as an outside back after Seamus Coleman because I remember the one season where he had, I think it was 2015, where he had like 9 goals, and like I remember watching one game and he hit a banger from like outside of the box with like a little bit of like the outside of his right foot that went like top bins, and I remember being like, yeah, okay, I want to do that. Like I want to be an outside back that's doing that, like bombing forward. And then, of course, the 2 U.S. GOATs, Tim Howard, Landon Donovan, playing on Everton. Like, so I think Everton will have a better season than Tottenham just because even though Gareth Bale is a great signing, like, when was the last time anybody has seen Gareth Bale play since that bicycle kick in the Champions League final? Like, I can't remember. Like, maybe he played in like the Copa del Rey against like a second Spanish side or something when Zidane didn't care who went out there. But
the season after Ronaldo left, he did good, but then like he didn't stay consistent and he got injured again, and so and then Zidane came back and it was just all downhill from there.
Mans fell apart.
Yeah. Okay.
So Everton, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the big forward. I love forwards like that. That like pretty much like a bigger Chicharito, just like a poacher. Like plays on the last center back, is always there for tap-ins, headers. Like occupies both the center backs. I like forwards like that.
Okay, they're a nightmare, bro. Nice, especially when they're like big and strong. Like
they can just post you up, and then they receive the ball. everyone can chill, move around him, build off him. I like that.
Yeah. You know what? I think that one of those two teams is gonna make top 4. It's really hard to decide. If you asked me really quickly, I would tell you Spurs, just because they have Mourinho, and Mourinho, even though he's on a decline as a coach, I think he still understands how to get the best out of his players. Right?
Yeah.
Like this season, they finished second behind Man City with a very trashy defense. I'm like, man, like looking back, I'm like, I can see why he said that was such a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because they had a horrible defense, and I was like, I think one thing watching that Everton Tottenham game that I noticed is like, man, that midfield lacks creativity, right? And like up until the last 2 signings they had, I felt like they signed very average players.
Yeah.
You know, but now I'm like, okay, like a Gareth Bale in your team can do what James is doing at Everton. He's increasing the level of everybody because, okay, now you got somebody that can ping the ball to you. Now you got somebody with vision. Like, you know, I forget their other midfielder's name. Andre Gomez, who used to play for Barca.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's like, okay, like now I got somebody that I feel like is up to my level versus like, I think Sigurdsson was just so like inconsistent.
Yeah.
You know, he'd have good games and then you'd be like, okay, like where did he go this game, right? So yeah, if you push me really quickly, I would say Spurs, but I think Everton has a really, really good shot too. Honestly, I feel like they'll finish higher than United. Like, I saw United play today.
Yeah, today was like, bad, against Crystal Palace. That was bad.
And I was like, okay, like, I'm like, I don't think Ollie will be at that wheel by the end of the season, man.
I don't know. The counterpoint I'm going to make to your Spurs thing is, so you talk about, like, lack of creativity in the midfield, and I agree with you 100%. So, like, how are Kane, Son, and Gareth Bale gonna get the ball if there's nobody that's like skillful enough to have somebody on their back and then turn and look up and play them through? How are they gonna get the ball? Are they gonna have to come super deep and Son plays like a 10 and then ends up like coming back super deep? Or what is Harry Winks gonna be able to?
I think that position though will give it more to Lamela. So Lamela is supposed to be the guy that they have.
What's the other guy's name? From Real Betis that got signed last year. He's pretty good.
Yeah, so
he's pretty nice.
Either Lamela or Lo Celso. One of the two. I think Lamela is more skillful than Lo Celso. People will tell you Lo Celso is. But I think it would be either him or they'll drop Gareth Bale for some games to be in that position as well. And if thinking back to like Mourinho's Real Madrid, he used to have, I think it was Ozil who was playing the balls, and he
Yeah.
had Ronaldo on one side. He had Gareth Bale on the other, and Benzema up top. And it was a defensive team, but when they countered, it was just quick counters. And I mean, like, you've got really quick players in Harry Kane and Son, and then you also have Gareth Bale, who's still pretty quick. I don't think he's as fast as he used to be, but he's still as strong. And it'll be interesting to watch him. So I think if he just shuts down that defense like he usually does, just like parks the bus, long ball to Gareth Bale, long ball to Son, and then they're just countering. I think they will do really well. I have a feeling, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think the team that is gonna win the Premier League this year is Chelsea.
Really?
Bro, they have so much talent. Havertz, Timo Werner, Ziyech from Ajax, Christian Pulisic, Giroud, who I thought was washed at Arsenal, but he's super good at Chelsea now. Who else do they have? They have Kovacic, Conte healthy now. The only thing with Chelsea is they leak goals. Kepa's garbage, and then
that defense, even with Thiago Silva in there, man, I don't trust that defense. That's why I don't think they'll be champions. I don't trust the defense, and I don't trust Frank Lampard yet.
Oh, not yet?
No, like, he hasn't proven to me that he can actually make that final step. He didn't do it in the FA Cup. He didn't. They got top 4, but it should have been easier for them to get top 4 than it was last year.
They lost some bad games to some mediocre squads.
We haven't seen him handle a dressing room with really good players. You know what I'm saying? Like, last year he had to rely a lot on the academy players and bring some people on. You know, Mason Mount, he brought back Tammy Abraham. So, I mean, these are players that you can kind of control because they're not stars yet, right? But you're bringing in a Timo Werner, a Kai Havertz, you're bringing in Thiago Silva, like, that's a different level. Like, you've got experienced players that have won a lot, and then you have players that everybody wanted, right? So how do you handle that is my question. Like, okay, let me see you.
That man management. Yeah.
Exactly. And plus, like, I'm a little bit biased because I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm like, okay, watching our first game, I was like, there's 2 things that we need. We need to tighten up in the defense, and these players need somebody to come in that's gonna elevate everybody's level again. And I think bringing in Thiago Alcantara to do that is a magnificent signing. Not only because he's a winner, but because he's a great player.
Yeah.
And great players want to play with great players, and it's gonna be like, okay, now Fabinho, Wijnaldum, all these guys have to feel that pressure. Like, okay, I gotta get better, right? And Van Dijk, he's the last couple of games he hasn't looked that solid. And
shaky.
He has. So I think that will hurt his ego a little bit. And I'm hoping that if we get that tightened again, I think we're poised to be champs again. Because the only real challenger I see personally is Man City, and they haven't done enough in the defense for me to be like, okay, like, this team is going to be different. They signed Ake, but
they were Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, yeah.
Bournemouth, they were leaking goals last year.
So I'm like, okay, maybe he's a good defender in another team, but he still got relegated. So, yeah, man. Cool, bro. So, just to finish off the show, I want you to give your best piece of advice. Maybe to somebody who wants to play college or somebody that just loves soccer. What would be your number one advice that you would give them?
Okay, so let me think about this for a little second. Awkward pause. I think probably my best advice to someone who wants to play college soccer is go and play college soccer. There's lots of opportunities. Like, don't try and peg yourself into one division or one college or groups of colleges. You need to keep your options open because there's lots of opportunities. I wish sometimes maybe that I had gone the JUCO route, that I had played at a JUCO for 2 years and gotten some serious burn and played 90 minutes every game, and then decided if I wanted to go either transfer to a bigger school or just not play anymore and transfer to a regular school. So there's lots of opportunities. Don't limit yourself to don't get in your head I need to go D1 or else I'm not good at the game. There's so many good teams out there that you can go and you can play and you can have a good time and you can get continue to get better. So don't like try and put yourself into one mold or like even one position or one role. Like don't go in there saying like I'm a midfielder, like I need to play the 6 or the 8 or the 10. Like just be adaptable like with your options and then like the positions you play and like how you work out, how you train.
Okay, I like that, man. I think the biggest takeaway I got from that is like, go take action. Right?
Yeah.
Like, go out there and make it happen. And I think that's what 90% of people lack. Like, they think of all the ways, all the reasons they can't, instead of focusing on the reasons that they can. Right?
Yeah.
So, awesome. This concludes episode 9 of the Golden Boots podcast. Dustin, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, bro. This is awesome.